Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, most controversial books of our time, Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. So let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever been passed over for a promotion you knew you deserved? Or how about this one? You're in a meeting, you have a brilliant idea, and you watch someone else steal it and get all the credit. Or maybe you've just done everything right. You worked harder, you were more loyal, and you still lost. Sound familiar? If you've ever felt that sting, you've probably asked yourself why. Well, the answer isn't about talent, and it's not about effort. It's about power. It's about understanding the invisible rules of the game that the other person understood, and maybe you didn't. See, Robert Greene spent years studying history, and he came to this really brutal conclusion. Power follows a set of laws. Now, these aren't the moral laws you learned about in school. These are the laws of human nature. They're ancient, they're consistent, and for the most part, they're completely unspoken. They just operate right beneath the surface of everything. For a quarter of a century, this book has basically been a secret playbook for leaders, executives, and strategists. In fact, it's considered so effective, so potent, that it was actually banned in several U.S. prisons. They were worried it was just too dangerous for inmates to get their hands on. But we're not here to debate the ethics. We're here to understand the mechanics. Because here's the core argument of the whole book, and it's a big one. Being naive about how power works isn't a virtue, it's a vulnerability. You know, pretending the game doesn't exist doesn't mean you're not playing. It just means you're a pawn in someone else's strategy. Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to break Greene's whole system down into 5 core pillars, plus one final insight that changes everything. We're starting with reputation. Right. Pillar 1, reputation. This is all about the power of perception. And honestly, this is where everything starts. This idea, which is at the heart of Law 5, is tough for a lot of people to accept. But in the social world, perception isn't just part of reality, it is reality. Your reputation walks into every room before you do. It colors how people see you, what they hear when you speak. And if you don't actively build and protect that reputation, believe me, someone else will create one for you. And that leads us right into our second pillar, concealment, or what we can call the art of silence. So if reputation is about what you show the world, this is about what you don't show. You know, we're always told transparency is this great virtue, but Greene's argument is that in any competitive situation, it's actually a huge liability. Think about it. If people know exactly what you want, they know how to block you. If they know your strategy, they can counter it. This isn't about being dishonest, it's about being strategic. Information is a form of currency, and just giving it away for free is like willingly disarming yourself before a fight. Okay, this next one is absolutely crucial for anyone who's ever had a job or worked in an organization. Pillar 3 is all about hierarchy, or mastering the court. This is it, law number 1. And it's probably the mistake that has torpedoed more careers than anything else. In any hierarchy, the person above you is, whether they admit it or not, looking for threats. And when you make them feel insecure, even if it's just by being really, really good at your job, you trigger a primal defensive reaction. Just look at Nicolas Fouquet, the finance minister for King Louis XIV. He threw this party that was so ridiculously lavish, it made the king's own palace look cheap. What happened? 3 weeks later, Fouquet was rotting in prison for life. His crime wasn't theft, it was outshining the master. All right, pillar 4 is all about discipline. It's about emotional control. This is the pillar of timing and the art of becoming the patient player. Think about it. The person who flies off the handle at every little thing, who has to win every single argument right now, they're the easiest person in the room to manipulate. They're basically a puppet, and their emotions are the strings. But the truly dangerous player, they can take a hit. They can lose a small battle, smile, file that information away, and wait for the perfect moment. That's not weakness. That's power. So our 5th pillar is where we see the true goal of all of this. It's not what you think. It's about achieving ultimate freedom through independence. This, right here, is the endgame. According to Greene, real power isn't about having control over other people. It's about getting to a point where you just don't need them. When your skills, your reputation, your finances, when they're all self-generated, you become unownable. Nobody has leverage over you. Dependency is always a trap. Real independence, that's the ultimate power. Okay, now for the most interesting part. This is the insight that almost nobody who talks about this book ever mentions. It's hidden in plain sight, and it completely changes how you should read these laws. So there are 2 levels of power. Think of it like an iceberg. What you see above the water is performative power. That's the scheming, the manipulation, the visible effort. That's what most people think the book is about. But the real strength, the vast majority of the iceberg, is what's below the surface. That's structural power. It's natural authority. It's effortless. It comes from a deep, almost unconscious understanding of how things work. And here it is, the golden nugget. The true master of the 48 laws isn't the person you see constantly plotting and playing games. It's the person who has internalized these principles so deeply that they just move through the world with a natural authority. See, the goal isn't to get better at scheming. The goal is to become so secure in your own power that you transcend the need to play the games at all. So let's wrap this up with a quick, practical checklist. First, start treating your reputation like it's critical infrastructure, because it is. It takes years to build and can be wrecked in a day. Second, stop giving away your information for free. Silence is a form of leverage. And third, identify the single biggest thing you depend on, a person, a company, whatever, and start today to build your way out of it. Look, the 48 Laws of Power isn't really a manual on how to be ruthless. It's a wake-up call. The game of power has been going on all around you your entire life. The only difference is, until now, you might not have been a conscious player. Now you are.